One time I was at a thrift store and I smelled a tape, and it was the worst smell I've ever smelled in my life, and I still talk about it and think about it.
VHS, the 4-hour system from Panasonic.
Experience Panasonic VHS Hi-Fi.
The VS5 is ready when you are.
For video reliability and performance, trust VCRs built by Hitachi.
This Panasonic VHS recorder connects almost by itself.
Find our best-selling Fisher VCR with auto rewind, 3-speed recording, electronic tuning, and 8-function remote control for only $4.99.
One of the new smart decks, Zenith's VHS video recorders.
It's like I discovered this group of people that I have so much in common with that I didn't even know existed.
The VHS, it's a VHS. It's a big old bulky piece of shit that looks awesome.
They brought back a passion and I wouldn't say forgotten memories necessarily, but maybe buried memories. And not like they were bad or anything. It's just, I didn't realize how much VHS itself changed the home video market, the whole video market, home or not. I didn't realize it changed it as much as it did until I started hearing the perspective of other VHS fans.
I think a lot of it is nostalgia, and I think a lot of it is folks my age. I mean, I'm in my mid-30s. I grew up on VHS.
And I learned a lot of interesting things from both Adjust Your Tracking as well as Rewind This. Very great documentaries. I suggest you watch if you haven't seen them. But they touched on a lot of things that I hadn't considered or I'd forgotten about. Things as simple as the artwork or as complex as the artwork, you know, because everybody makes those covers these days, especially for action movies. It's just like the four faces of the actor. There's some post that shows all the cliched movie covers and how there's nothing's original color-wise. There's always an American flag and the patriotic, America movies and things like that.
Movie poster covers these days suck.
But back in the day, they used to paint the covers, and they're right about that. There's something so much more charming, so much more beautiful about a cover that's painted.
The old ones were so much better. They were so more vibrant, and they made you want to watch the movie. You didn't care who the characters were. You cared about the actual story itself. The
struggle of a character in an artistic pose or something. I just think it's better.
A lot of the stuff that appeals to me is stuff with amazing cover art. If it wasn't for the artwork, it was dull, plain covers with nothing on them. I don't know how interested I'd be.
And you would think that with the size of these boxes, it would be annoying because you can see there's some DVDs and some Blu-rays right over there, but
the cover art sells it. It makes you want it, even if the movie itself is horrific.
Tapes that are special to me that we actually do own, I took them off the shelf, and Little Shop of Horrors is one of them because Audrey too. My name is Audrey. I always used to get referenced because of that.
It's something you gotta have. For example, like Spine or 555. These are not quality movies that you're gonna see anytime soon. These are for hardcore freaks. These are for the VHS nerds that want stuff that goes beyond or does stuff that other movies shouldn't or wouldn't.
And just the idea of a plant eating people to stay alive, that was awesome. And it always made me think of like a Venus flytrap, and I'm a little fly inside the trap.
The size of these doesn't bother me. If anything, it makes me happy. It really does take me back to my childhood. See, it's not that I've forgotten, but I got movies all the time as a kid. I've got a few pictures, and one of them specifically is at my old house, and I barely even remember this time, but you can see my parents had a TV, and they have a bunch of VHS tapes down there on the bottom. So for as long as I can remember, I've had a VCR, and I've had movies, and I grew up with it, and it was so prevalent of a format. It was so easy to have tapes to record things off of TV. We used to record TV shows and specials and movies and just whatever, just leave the damn thing running, when you go to work or while I was in school.
We're missing the big football game. Relax, my VHS home video recorder is taping it right now.
After these messages, we'll be right back.
2 videos, the ultimate sci-fi action collector's edition. Predator, coming soon to video.
And now back to our regularly scheduled program.
I want the weirdest stuff. I want the stuff that makes me laugh. I want stuff that's disgusting. I want the goriest stuff.
I used to record magic specials off of TV, and I had at least 4 or 5 tapes. I had one that was an entire David Copperfield tape. It had all of his specials, and I was a huge fan of the Berkeley House one. You guys know what I'm talking about. Scary House and all that. That was a really great special. I recorded everything. You know, when David Blaine came out, I was still into it a little bit. I started recording his stuff. Barton just jumped into one of the boxes over there that we've been keeping movies in because we emptied it last night.
I wanted to live in that fucking Bible Dome. I wanted to live in it. It just looked cool.
Getting a couple movies, you know, you pick up this, you pick up that, and you pick up this, and you start, with me, I started noticing that there were things that were similar, like, and that's where I started looking at labels.
The amount of movies I received for Christmas, and I had a good childhood, you know, a lot of people didn't have what I had. I was an only child, I was spoiled, and I'm not ashamed of that. I'm gonna do the same to my kid if I ever have one.
Where I'd say, hey, you know, this company put out this, and they also put out this. Both these movies are just awesome.
I got so many movies because I asked for them, and I'd get some movies I didn't ask for just because my parents wanted to watch them. You know, we were a movie family.
What the hell have you done? You've spent all your money doing this? This is what it is for you.
It was a fun thing to sit around and watch specials together, things that we recorded because maybe, you know, my mom and dad might have worked third or one of them was working second. They had different schedules back in the day. You hear her scratching over there?
Renting movies was a family thing for me. We would go to the video store. My dad would get his westerns or his action movies. My mom, she would get the horror movies. She loves horror. And me and my sister, we would get the kid-friendly, you know, comedy films or whatever. But my mom used to let me watch all those horror films with her. And I think that's why I grew into be such a horror buff. I love horror movies, and it's all because of my mom.
People come in here and, you know, 9 times out of 10, they're just like, wow. No one's ever come in here and been like, whoa, what the fuck, dude? Why are you like wasting all this space? Get some DVDs. Like, don't you have a sick booklet and stuff? Like, then you could like put other stuff up on the wall. And then it's like, out.
Movies that we don't own that mean a lot to me. I wish we had SLC Punk. Oh my God, maybe it's me.
Before I ever met Caleb and Pierce, and we rented more movies than you could imagine.
It's Friday night, you're with your friends, you're having a sleepover, you're at the video store, you want to make each other laugh by finding the dumbest thing possible. I think that was a huge, huge part of it, really. Like, sitting around with your friends, laughing, eating pizza. What is better than that?
I owned not a tenth of what we own today, but they were so special. They were so meaningful back then. It was a great feeling when Christmas came and I could see VHS tapes under the tree, because my mom would wrap them that way on purpose. She'd wrap them so that you knew it was a tape, but you didn't know what it was. And God, there was just no better feeling. I still have this memory of, it's up there somewhere, The Nutty Professor. I remember getting The Nutty Professor for Christmas. And I remember exactly where I sat in my old living room with my feet propped up on the couch. I might have been 10 or 11. This is before I met Caleb and Pierce for sure. And I remember Christmas Eve watching that movie and just laughing and laughing and laughing. And I'd forgotten how joyous of a time that really was. I didn't realize that, especially around here, VHS tapes are so affordable.
They're a quarter.
They're so wonderful to me. Like, I am absolutely in awe, and I'm addicted to collecting them. I feel like that guy was talking about in one of the documentaries, like, I feel like I'm rescuing them from somebody's musty basement or their dirty garage or their broken down building.
They're getting moldy, they're being ignored, they're not being watched.
You know, these are relics of a former time.
I'll pull them out of wherever they're sitting and actually watch them. Put them on a shelf, treat them really special, make sure the humidity doesn't get too much, make sure they don't get sunlight on them. I'm protecting these old movies from being ignored, from being lost, from being forgotten about.
VHS helped push the movie market into what it is. They were so prevalent back then, you know, and it's like they said, you just picked one up off the shelf. There was no advertising. You would get something based on the cover alone, and that is why I love these things so much. I don't even care anymore if it's a bad movie. If it has a cool cover, I have to have it. I have to have it. If it has a cheesy cover, I have to have it.
That's how a lot of us grew up watching movies, and so now that we're older, we want to go back to seeing them the way we did.
And that didn't happen until I but came close to getting like all the things I had as a kid. Because we're at that point now. Well, we started off just buying whatever. You know, I would buy just about one of anything on VHS because they're quarters and they're buy two, get one free, buy one, get two free. Just different deals around here because We live in an area where it's just nobody seems to give a crap, or they haven't caught on yet. But when I realized I could have so many movies at our disposal for quarters, you know, it was like an obsession suddenly, and I had to build that collection, and I built the hell out of it fast. We're over 800 and something right now.
I'm finding out-of-print stuff, and it's cheap, so I can get more for my buck.
And it's got pops and crackles, and you gotta adjust the tracking. You can, you know, if you don't have a fucking remote, you're just like, ugh.
Ever since I found the 8 Million Ways to Die, W, and Rolling Vengeance, it awoke something in me, this curiosity. And it's always been there, I guess, but I was way less inclined when I was younger to watch movies I didn't know what they really were.
If it grabs me, then we'll get it. That's the name of the game. I don't have any hard, fast rules. I just kind of look.
Because back then, it was still $5, $6, you know, or that was used anyway. Buying a movie was still sometimes $14, $15, $30 for double tapes, you know. And that's the way it is for DVDs and Blu-ray these days, and I'm just not feeling walking into any store and looking at any crappy modern cover and dropping $15 to $20 on it, and then going home and just popping this disc in with these long-ass menus and all that stuff, and just billions of copyright notices and FBI warnings and all that stupid shit. And yeah, some of that was on tapes, but I mean, damn, on tapes you got like 1 or 2 trailers, if that, and then feature presentation. So when I go to a thrift store around here and I can drop a quarter,
I'm gonna be looking for some trash, some cheese.
I don't have any qualms about buying shit that is strange looking or interesting.
They were like bookstores. You'd go in, you'd browse, you'd find an interesting title. It might be Bloodsucking Freaks, or it might be the Queen Elizabeth story, but there was a variety.
I'm even at the point now of wanting to buy recorded from TV tapes just to see what's out there. This stuff might not exist anywhere else. Like, I'm absolutely enthralled by the idea of what is laying on all these magnetic strips around the world.
Bubba Until It Hurts. It's for men and women. 4, 8, 5. And at the end, he's like, now that you've met my friends, let's get to work. I love you. He says, I love you.
I love you.
Everybody has VHS tapes. They're in your grandma's attic for all you know. They're in your neighbor's basement right now. They could be upstairs in your own home and you've forgotten about them, you know? Everybody has a VHS tape laying around, or they had at some point in their lives. And I want them. I want them, man. It feels like this is the healthiest obsession I've had in a while, because it's not breaking the bank, you know?
The TiVo age only exists because we were raised with VHS, because we were the first generation that could be sent to bed with a promise it'll be here tomorrow when you get up.
After these messages, we'll be right back.
Hey, check this out. The biggest video of the year is here now.
Our T15 pre-pack contains 12 units of T2, along with 3 units of live 2nd December release, Drop Dead Fred. Arnold Schwarzenegger, T2, coming on video cassette.
And now back to our regularly scheduled program.
I understand completely everything these guys are talking about. The irresistible urge. Like, if I see tapes in a box or somewhere, I have to look. It absolutely kills me. I cannot leave. I will think about it nonstop.
It comes from that great feeling of finding that tape, and it doesn't happen often.
I have got to look.
You know, just like I did, I grew up on cassette tapes, and so there's a certain percentage of people like me that are always going to have their cassette. I mean, me personally, I got 1,500 VHS tapes at home.
I mean, yeah, there's definitely a nostalgia to it, you know? When you hold a VHS in your hand that you had as a kid, and it's not the exact same copy, but, you know, it's the same print of it or whatever, it does feel like it's the same one. It doesn't matter that it's not. It's, at one point in time, I was of a different age, you know, and I was somewhere else, and I held this in my hand. And you can feel the same memories that you had when you first watched it, or you first got it, or you first rented it.
Luckily, a lot of the movies that I love now, I first saw on VHS when you could barely make out anything. And I wonder if I would love those movies nearly as much if I saw a nice new remastered clean print of it. You know, if I didn't already have that first impression with something where I could see all the faults in the makeup and I could see just everything crystal clear, I don't think I would have had the same reaction to a lot of these movies.
And I don't know, I think that guy's right. You know, had I not saw a lot of these movies the way I saw them as a kid, with the lines, with the creases, with the jitters, with the wobbles and all that stuff, I don't know that they would have the same effect on me. And that may be why I find it so difficult to sit still and watch things on Blu-ray or DVD. I mean, I'll put them in and I'll end up pausing it real quick. And that's another thing I love about our VCR. Like, I don't have a remote, so I have to get up if I want to stop it. It makes me pay more attention to it, you know?
I watch so many movies that sometimes I'll be in the process of watching multiple movies at once, so I can stop something, put something else in, watch it, stop it, come back to it another time.
I love the sound of it rewinding.
My earliest memories of a VCR or VHS tapes isn't even a VHS tape or a VCR. It's the VHS rewinder. I used to always want to rewind the movies after we watched them. The thing pops up and you shove the tape in, you push it back down, and you hit rewind, and you just listen to it.
I just love these things. And I'd forgotten how much I loved them until I started hunting for them.
It's like I wouldn't remember what the movie was that we just watched or anything, but I would be so excited to use the rewinder.
And it all started too. This all started for two things. One was watching, you know, James Rolfe's movie store rental things that he's been doing recently. I watched that very first one, and you know, it had that effect on me, but I didn't know it yet. It was sinking in, basically. Just seeing his shelves and realizing that I had not been in a video store in all those years and how long ago those memories were. That's around the time I think I went up there and filmed that one store that I showed you guys. And then we went yard selling a couple of days later, and I found all those James Bond movies that were sealed. And that was the push, you know, when the lady was like $2, and I got like, they're over, I think they're behind that right there. But the point is, we got like, I'm sure you remember, 7 or 8, maybe even 9 James Bond movies. A couple of them, more than a couple, were sealed. And I was like, okay, this is a possible market. I can buy and resell these because I needed money. So we were getting there at that point. And then as I got home and I researched them, I just started thinking about them. And I was like, well, these are kind of cool. And then I was like, I wonder what else we can find around here to sell. So we started going to the thrift stores. And as soon as we started finding what we found for the prices we found, it was like, we can't sell this.
When Michael bought all those movies and he was like, yeah, we're going to buy these to sell them, you know, so we can remake our money or whatever, I was like, okay, that's cool. And then he's like, okay, let's keep this one. Let's keep that one. Let's keep this one. And the next thing you know, we got a whole box full of them, and we got like 2 that we're going to sell. But I didn't care because I love movies.
I'm never going to get rid of them. You know, it's like I said, it's like vinyl. It sounds different. It looks different.
After these messages, we'll be right back.
1, 2, Freddy's coming for you.
Nightmare on Elm Street. Each newly remastered movie is available individually on VHS or commemorative box set.
And now back to our regularly scheduled program.
Even Audrey got addicted to it. You know, she had movies as a kid growing up, of course.
I think the first movie that I purchased on my own was actually a Three Stooges film because it reminded me of being with my mom at 3 o'clock in the morning, sick. You know, couldn't go to school the next day or something, so we would watch the Three Stooges.
She didn't have as many as I did, but she has the same nostalgia for them, and if anything, she's matched me in her nostalgia for them, even without the history that I have attached to them, because they can also take her back to something that she didn't get a lot of as a child, or what she did get, it means even more to her because it was so scarce. But she's of the same vein as me now. Can't get enough of these odd covers, these weird movie titles, you know? The trashier the better. The stranger the better. The more B-movie and crappy, the better. I just spent yesterday a little bit of time running movies through, like, I know a lot of them have copyright protection, so obviously it's, you know, I'm not going to be trying to get any of these off there to archive, but that Paragon video I picked up, it did not have copy protection on it, so I managed to digitally capture it to the computer. I had to do it in 2 segments because at one point the tape did wrinkle and it thought it was a copyright protection, but I since combined them together flawlessly, seamlessly, and I split it. So I have a digital copy of that movie W that we haven't watched yet, and I definitely want to watch it. And I did it as a digital copy because, you know, I'm considering doing a review on it, because where the hell are you going to find that movie at, right? Like, I don't know anything about it other than it's fucking rare, I guess. Not really rare, but it's rare. that's what really pushed me into this. Like, I'm so obsessed now with tracking down the strange and the random tapes because people are letting these things go so cheap. They think they're garbage. They think they're trash. But my God, that the phrase "one man's trash is another man's treasure" has never rang more true to me in my life than when I became a VHS collector.
Having everything the way it is. So what I do is all my clamshells, fucking hard cases, whatever, organized by company, by size.
I am 100% on board with all the guys in these documentaries. I just feel like I've met some long lost brothers.
And then with all like my fucking slip sleeves, I alphabetize.
I just want to talk about them all the time. I want to look at them. I want to hold them. Like, I feel like I spend more time looking for them and getting them organized on my shelf than I do watching the damn things. But that's only because I'm still trying to build my collection. I have been watching them.
Oh, man. Motherfucker. I don't think ahead, ever. I never put space, so when I get new titles, I can just like jam them in there. So I have to move every motherfucking thing. At this point, it takes like a whole fucking day, dude.
There are so many that I'm missing from my childhood that probably won't pop up around here. And if they do, it'll be a while. But I love it. I love the hunt, man. It's like treasure hunting, you know? You never know what random movie you're gonna find. They could be putting one out on the shelf right now. And it gets to me now. Every day I wake up and I'm like, should I go back to that thrift store today? I know I was just there yesterday, but what if today's the day they put that stuff out? Because what if today they put out that horror movie and somebody else goes up there and gets them? But, it's unrealistic for me to be like driving to them every day. But boy, I want to. I want to do a vacation. Audrey and I have been talking about that vacation forever. The cabin's going to have to be put on hold for a little while since I'm going to be starting work soon, but that's even better. We're going to have more money to get it taken care of. Still going to try to quit smoking though, obviously. But I want to... my idea for a vacation at this point is like, let's get in the car and let's just drive in like a 100-mile radius to every thrift store we can find, every Goodwill we can find, and just VHS hunt. And she's on board with it, man. That's love right there. I'm very lucky that my wife doesn't think my obsession is weird. She's kind of grown into it as well. So thank God, because she does love horror movies and all that. So I'm lucky in that respect.
I'm never gonna get tired of collecting VHS tapes. They're like babies. It's like I'm like a spider with a million babies behind me. They're on my back, always weighing me down. But I love it, and I don't think I want to sell them.
I'm never going to stop. I'm never going to stop owning these. I'm never going to stop buying these. I'm never going to let them go. I just love them. I love them a lot.
If no one else appreciated it, if they were all worth nothing tomorrow, I'm still going to enjoy them. I'm going to look at them and get pleasure out of what I feel is the value